Because we can all be engaged in stuff, okay? But if it isn't meaningful to me, the chances of the comprehension, the chances of the retention are so much less. Because what happens if something is not meaningful? What happens to you?
You don't remember.
You don't remember? What else?
You don't care.
You don't really care much. Yeah, motivation is gone. We have a tendency to close down. So we try to make things meaningful by setting purpose. So we have an understanding as to why we're doing this. Okay? Because not everything is exciting to learn. But sometimes we have to learn things because we need it. But if I have a purpose, I can hang in there. We make things meaningful by accessing prior knowledge and helping the brain make connections. Because if I have something going up here, it's my Velcro. So that when I'm reading other stuff, it sticks to something. We make things meaningful by breaking them into smaller chunks. Okay? And I work on this chunk first. And the more difficult, the smaller the chunk, to make meaning out of that chunk. And then we add another chunk. So that's why we don't say to kids, read all of these pages. No, we're going to break them into small, meaningful chunks for the child. Okay. So, meaningful engagement is kind of a big thing that we want to pay attention to. Because kids can be, I was in a classroom and kids would spend a lot of time just copying stuff from the screen. They were all engaged. There wasn't any discipline issue. They were all obeying. And when I said to the principal, I said, talk to me about the meaningfulness of that time. Because we all complain we don't have enough time. And that was 15 minutes a time. Was that a meaningful engagement process for the learner? So we really want to think about that as we work with the kids. All right. So, to look at then strategic reader. What is a strategic reader? If you take a look, open your book now, on your yellow book to page 21. This is going to be review. Some of you are going to have a lot of highlighting in there. There are 3 components. Okay? They work actively to construct meaning because there is no meaning in a text. The meaning is always up here. It's always up here, so I have to work to make sense of it. Another thing is strategic readers are independent. You know what works for you as a reader. Some of you highlight. Some of you read with pencil in hand. Some of you prefer a pen. Some of you won't write in a book. Okay? But you know, some of you can read with a hustle bustle around you. Some of you can't read with a hustle bustle. Some of you can read with music playing. Some of you can't handle music. I'm independent. I know about myself as a reader. I know how to take care of myself. Strategic readers also read to learn. When I need information, what do? Today, what we do is we Google it, don't we? We do a lot of Googling and then figure out of all the links that come up and the pages and pages of links, which one is going to be the most helpful. Yeah, we read to learn. We read to get information. And we also read to relax. How many of us in here will sit down in the evening and to just calm down, take a novel, a little bit of nothing, you know, like a bossy pants, and just relax with it. Yeah. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is to work through this again using a different strategy. The strategy we're going to be using is group summarizing. People in here who have used this strategy, group summarizing. You're you're going to need your supplementary packet. You would open it to page 3 and page 4. The directions are on page 4, and the worksheet that you'll work from is on, the strategy is on page 3. Okay? Now, let me give you the direction. Also, everybody needs to have a copy of the packets that Patrick brought in of your hard work. So put your name on this as well, because what you have in here are strategies that some of these should be familiar to people. Okay? All right, so here's what I'm going to ask you to do with your partner. You're going to preview the materials like we're doing now. We always preview stuff to see what we have in front of us. Page 21, 22 in the yellow book. The supplementary handout, page 3 and page 4, so we get organized. And then this packet of strategies. Okay? So we've got 3 things going on. Okay, so what you're going to do is then strategic readers, the very first component of strategic reading, you are either going to read it aloud or silently, the introduction, the quote, and you're going to discuss it with your partner so that you have the intro. Then what you're going to do is move to the section on strategic reader. What is a strategic reader? They read to construct meaning, and you see the packet. Okay? And on page 3, you're going to write a brief summary definition with your partner. And then what you're going to do is look at examples in the packet. And it doesn't only have to be these examples, because maybe some of you didn't get them to Patrick, which is perfectly fine. But what are examples, specific examples that really do push, help kids construct meaning? They read actively to construct meaning. Okay? Then you will go to the next part. Strategic readers are independent. Read it with your partner, either aloud or silently. Talk about it. Come up with a summary. Write it down on page 3 so that it works for you. And then again, look at the examples in the packet and talk about other things that you have done or you are doing. And the examples should be able to comfort anybody in here, even if you weren't with us. You are still working toward that. I know that. And then move to the last strategic readers read to learn. Okay? And so that's